I probably should have addressed the studio situation, but that's another video. Today, I wanted to talk about something that's a little more serious, I guess. And I'm sorry, I'm being kind of quiet because my mom is like right there in the next room, and she likes to come in a lot when I'm filming and complain that I'm too loud. But today I wanted to talk about something that was a bit more serious, and that's my experience in what it's like to lose someone to suicide. And it's a bit of a long story, so bear with me. I'll try to shorten it up as much as I try to shorten it up as much as I can. But I thought I would share this because so many of my people who I know this story already. And I had a friend who just recently lost someone to suicide, and they just wanted to know like my experience and how I dealt with it. So I thought I would share it with you guys because I love you guys so much. So let's get started. I guess I don't really know how to start these things, so we'll just jump right into it. So I had a friend. His name was Luke, and he passed away in 2013. And I'm not going to put a picture of him anywhere. I know people have asked to see pictures of him whenever I talk about him, but I'm not going to put any pictures of him in this video because that might be offensive to his family or whatever, and I just don't want to be reminded of it. But, so I met him when I don't remember how old I was. I don't remember how we met, and I don't really remember how old I was when we met. But, I remember how we met, but I don't remember how old we were. It was years ago. And he lived down the street from me. And we didn't grow up together exactly because we met when I was in that awkward phase where I was transitioning from like my tween-ish into my transition into a teenager. And we met in the middle of that phase. And we were he was quite a bit, he wasn't like exactly like quite a bit older than me, but he was older than me by a couple years. And he was older than me by a couple years. And if he were still alive today, he would have just finished his junior year of high school. So anyway, back to the story, my bad. So, I don't remember how old we were when we met or what our exact age difference is. I'm not quite sure. But, I'm sorry about this piece of hair, by the way. I have a hat right there just to cover it up. I'm just going to push it behind my ear for now because it's really, really annoying. I know I look retarded. I'm sorry. But, so he lived right down the street from me, and that was how we met. And, when he first moved in, we instantly clicked because that was, when he moved in, it was at a time where most of the kids in the neighborhood, either we didn't have that many, or most of them just didn't like me. And, because I'm just gonna be honest with you, most of the kids in the neighborhood were either in really messed up family situations and never came out of the house, or, they were just in completely different social stereotypical groups than I was. Like, of course, you had the preps, and then you had, like, the ghetto kids. It was a combination of those two in my neighborhood, and so I was singled out, and I didn't have very many friends. So, what the fuck? I'm sorry, my camera's right by my window, and there's a cat doing this really weird thing down the street. But anyway, so, he moved in, down the street, and because I didn't have very many friends at the time, and most of the neighborhood kids didn't like me, me and him, we instantly clicked. And we were both fairly normal people. Not normal exactly, but we were both starting to go through our little emo kid goth phase at the time. And so we both got each other interested in rock music and like all the whole going to rock concerts thing, all the like Black Veil Brides, Fallen Universe, Ghost Town, stuff like that. Hot Topic-esque. Anyway, so he got me into a lot of, we shared a lot of things in common, and we were able to get each other into that kind of stuff. If you guys want to know where my real emo kid look idea came from, it was from him. So, you know, we started hanging out and we became really, really good friends. And so, of course, with the entering teenager phase, some people experience depression. And we both developed it at around the same time. He got it a little later than I did. I got it first and then he developed it next. Because mine developed mostly from my school situation, because I was going to that terrible religious school and I was getting pushed around, I was getting bullied, and nobody was really doing anything about it. And with him, it was because of his home situation. Like, his mom worked a lot and his dad was a pill junkie, and so like they didn't have very much money, his parents were getting a divorce, all this like terrible stuff. He had a really, really bad home situation, so that's where his developed from. So we both developed depression at around the same time. And so I never mentioned this in my self-harm video, but I started my self-harm addiction, developed 4 years, it was 4 years ago was when it first came up. And his came up at around the same time. I don't know where he got it from, but I guess it was, we both thought of it as like a fad kind of thing at first, and then as we got older and our depression got worse, like we both like, it became like an actual legitimate problem. It wasn't, we weren't doing it to try to seem cool anymore. And so so as we got older and it became a legitimate problem, of course we got closer and we were able to like help each other through our depression and things like that, and things were suddenly, they were going away and everything was gonna be okay. And I was hoping that everything was gonna be okay. I'm sorry, about after that clip and I was trying to like put the rest of the story together, I started getting emotional. I'm sorry. So if I do end up getting like really emotional and stuff like that through the rest of this video, I'm really sorry. But anyway, so both of our little like depression things and self-harm things came up around the same time, and but because we really understood each other at that point and we had gotten really, really close, like I would go over to his house every day and we would hang out and stuff and just talk. And he like we started really working at our problems, and I thought that everything was gonna be okay. And so, you know, I thought everything was gonna be okay. And then we went through the rest of the summer of, I don't remember what year it was exactly because it was a year before. No, the summer of 2013. And we went through that year and everything was okay. Like, of course, this was before things with me started getting really, really bad. But he had already gotten pretty bad by the end of that school year. And, but we thought that, like, everything was gonna be okay. Like, we were slowly getting better, although he was still pretty bad. It was getting better. Like, he had stopped cutting himself as much, and he wasn't talking about, like, his depression as much, so I thought everything was gonna be okay. And we went through that summer, and it seemed that everything was fine, and everything was getting better. And then, so, after that summer, I had another year at that really, really terrible religious school, and that was the year that everything got really, really bad. Like, my self-harm was out of control, and, like, I couldn't stop myself, I wasn't getting any help, and, like, the people were, like, pushing me around because of it. Like, I was getting bullied a lot more by the actual, like, the principal I talked about, and principal tried to delete my channel, that video. She was extremely mean to me, and I don't want to say, like, I'm the victim, but at the same time, like, she didn't want to try to help me with my self-harm. She just targeted it as I'm a Satanist kind of thing. So that year, things got really bad in the beginning of that year, like, the first month in September. School started in, like, early September, like, September 2nd was the day that school started. So, so early September, things got really, really bad. And, for me, and for him as well. So, cause his family situation got worse, his mom lost her job, and so like they pretty much had no money. They were getting money from the government, and so we were both in really really bad situations. So we started talking more and more, and he started talking about wanting to kill himself. And I was telling him, I was like, "What? No, don't do that. I understand why you would want to do it, but don't do it. Okay? Remember me? Like we're gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this together." And he's like, "Okay, okay, everything's gonna be fine." Um. So yeah. Um. So after like we had that conversation, like don't kill yourself, and he agreed to stick with me for my sake, and like he was telling me, like of course everything with both of us was getting worse, and he was telling me that like I want to kill myself, and I told him no, like don't do that, and he said okay. So of course that was just one little thing, and I really wish I could go back to that day when I told him not to kill himself, and I would have been much more assertive with him because I was way more calm about it. And after that, he wouldn't stop talking about like okay, everything's getting really much worse, and I don't know how much I can hold on. Like I really, really want to die. Like this is not okay. And I kept telling him like don't do that, but he would not listen to me. And so I didn't know what to do. There was nobody that we could talk to. So I just kind of went with it, and I kept telling him, like, please, for my sake, and for your sake, and your family, please, don't kill yourself. And he was saying, like, okay, okay, okay. And during that period, that September, we got really extremely close. Because, of course, things got worse with me, things got worse with him. He's going through this whole suicide situation. And I didn't really understand what it was like to really want to die because I didn't try to kill myself until March of that year, but that's another video. I don't think about doing that anymore, by the way. This was years ago. And so I didn't really understand what like suicidal thoughts felt like at that time, so I wasn't really in the same position as he was. But like I was self-harming and I was depressed, but I didn't really understand like what it felt like. I'm depressed, but I don't want to die. Like I didn't understand what he felt. So I tried to do everything I could, and because I didn't understand, I just couldn't get my point through to him. And so of course things went on like this. I kept trying to get my point through to him, and I just couldn't. And I'm surprised I didn't think of saying this earlier. Not just like when I was trying to get the point through to him that you shouldn't kill yourself. I'm surprised I didn't say this earlier. But he was, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think, because he was never, his house situation, it was really bad, like they had no money, but his parents were extremely caring people. Well, at least one of them was, the other one was always doped up on pills. But, his mom was a really, really caring person. Because they moved to Clio about a year ago, so I don't see them anymore. But so anyway, so his mom, the people in his family who weren't doped up on pills all the time, his family were very, very nice people. Although they didn't have much money, they were still extremely caring people. But then, like, his mom started to like change and stuff. Like she started being much worse to him. And then, eventually, I'm not sure exactly what happened or the details of what happened that night when he told me, but because he didn't get too much detail because he was so upset, he told me it was around maybe like 8, 9 o'clock, and he told me to come over, so I did, and we were just outside. We went to my backyard, and we were just hanging out, and he was a mess. He was crying, and he was complaining, and he was telling me, like, oh, my mom, she's been, like, super mean to me all week, and she physically assaulted him. I'm not exactly sure what happened or how it got resolved, but she physically assaulted him, and she had never done that before. And because she's such a caring person, I guess he felt like, how could she do that? Like, that's my mom. How could she hurt me? Or anything like that. And he was a mess. So, he kept talking about, like, this is exactly why, like, school isn't going good. My home situation isn't going good. I want to kill myself, like, really badly. Like, I really, really want to do this, and I feel like you're the only one who understands. And so I'm just like, no, don't do that. And I said something. I feel really bad for not saying this earlier. When during that time, when I was trying to tell him, like, don't kill yourself, I'm really upset at myself for not saying this earlier. And I told him, hey, I took his hands and I'm like, hey, I can't really understand how you're feeling right now. I understand, like, it's really hard for you, but you really don't need to kill yourself. And if you're ever getting that feeling like you want to try to kill yourself or you want to hurt yourself in some way, just call me and I will always answer. I promise. So, I told him that, and he was like, okay, he calmed down. He was like, okay, I'll let you know. And I was like, okay. So, about a week after that day, I was, because there was the rec center for the school that my mom works at, like, we used to go there all the time, because, like, we had a membership and we would, like, go in the pool and stuff like that, and, because the pool was really nice. I was just there today, actually. That's why my hair is turning green. But, anyway, so at this rec center, there was a room. It wasn't, like, the locker room, like, where you change at, but there was a room that was in between, where you had, like, your own personal lockers. Like, you could, like, put stuff in, like, at the roller rink, how they have those lockers so that you can just put your personal belongings in. It was one of those. And, we both had memberships, so we could, like, go there whenever we wanted. And, so I was at the rec center one day with my mom, and his locker was right next to mine. And he wasn't with us, but, I was at my locker, and I opened it, and a piece of paper fell out. And I was like, okay, I just put it in my bag. I'll read it later. So after my day at the rec center, I was at the pool for a while, and then I came back to my house afterwards, and I took the little piece of paper out of my bag. And I'm not sure if I still have it. I feel like I do. Yep, I still do. This is what it is right here. It's got his little black lipstick smudge on the back. And this is what it says. I'm not going to write an introduction to this because I don't know how. I'm done. Can't do it. I'm sick of living in my little world full of regret and loneliness. I hate it. I know you would like to talk me out of this. I love you, but you can't. I'm doing it. Don't try to stop me. I hate it here. May as well let me go. Goodbye. And then his signature and the year, 2013. And so, of course, that was a suicide note. That was a suicide note, my children. But, of course, I got that, and I was freaking out. I went right to his house, and I asked him, and he's like, everything's getting really, really bad. I can't take it anymore. And I was like, no, listen to me. Like I said, call me. I'll always pick up. So, he agreed. And the rest of September finished out. Because when I got that note, it was, like, late September. I think it was, like, late September, early October when I got that note. And a lot of time had passed in between these events. But, so I was it was a Thursday night. It was a Thursday night, yes. It was a Thursday night. And, I was, talking to him. And so, of course, he was talking about, wanting to kill himself again. And I told him the same thing, I calmed him down, like, call me. You know what? Whatever. So, it was, so the next day, my family, we were going up to, Lansing to see a few of my cousins, because, like, they don't live far. Most of my cousins live, like, in New York, so, like, these are the only ones I really get to see, and they're much older than me. They're, like, in their 20s and 30s. But, so we went up to see them, and we were having this, like, family dinner thing, because, my cousin was getting married. And, so we were all, like, having a little, family celebration. It was at this kind of fancy clam bar place. And so I had my phone with me, and then about halfway through, it starts ringing. I'm in the middle of a conversation with somebody. I'm in the middle of talking about some shit, and my phone rings, and I look, and it's Luke. And I'm just like, shit. I can't take this, because if I do and I try to take a phone call, my mom is going to get really mad at me, because she hates it when I answer the phone in public. She always has. And she doesn't even like it when I text in public. She hates it. But anyway, so I was like, shit, I can't answer this right now. So I declined the call, and you guys can probably tell where the story is going. And I declined the call, and I didn't text him letting him know like where I was, because I was in the middle of a conversation with someone and my mom was right there, and she was gonna get really angry with me if I tried to communicate with him right now. So after that incident where I declined his phone call, the entire Saturday, like the next day, I got no word from him. I tried texting him multiple times, but I thought that everything was fine because it was a Friday night. I knew his mom was home, like everybody was home, like there was no chance that he could have done anything. And so I was like, okay, calm down. Saturday, it was a fairly normal Saturday. I just later on didn't really do anything. And so the next day was Sunday, of course. And Sundays, normally I would go to church on a Sunday morning. I've stopped doing that, by the way. But because my mom drives me there. But anyway, let me stop. So Sunday, my mom was normally going to take me to church. I thought that's what the plan was going to be. So we go to church at 11:30 in the morning, and so that was our plan. So on Sunday, I check what time it is. I wake up, I clean up, do my makeup, do my hair. I don't dress up for church, but I dress decent. Like, I probably would wear the shirt to church sometimes, but like normally I would just wear like plain black, nothing too outrageous. Like I wouldn't wear my Marilyn Manson or Attila t-shirt to church. Pretty self-explanatory of why. But so I got myself all dressed for church, and I assumed that because my mom didn't wake me up that morning, that she was gonna wait for me downstairs. And because it's a weekend and it's a Saturday, not a Saturday, it's a damn Sunday. Shut up, cat. God, you're dumb. But it's because it's a weekend and it's a Sunday. I slept in. I always sleep in on weekends, and during the summer I sleep until around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. So we were going to the 11:30 mass. So I got up, I got myself ready, and I assumed that my mom was going to be waiting for me and going to be ready to go downstairs. And I walked to the steps. I walked out of my room after I got myself all fixed up. I walked to the steps, and I hear all this talking. And so, like, I didn't really hear. I heard my mom, and I heard my dad, and I heard a couple other voices. They were kind of muffled. There were, like, at least 4 or 5 people down there. And I couldn't really, like, hear exactly what they were saying. So I walked downstairs, and I turned to get into the living room. And in the living room, sitting on the couch, is both of Luke's parents and his younger sister. And my mom and dad are standing by the steps waiting for me. And I'm just like, okay, hold on, what is this? And they told me to, like, calm down, sit down. And then they told me that he had killed himself the night before. And he died in the basement. He made a rope type thing out of the Christmas lights that were in his bedroom. And he hung himself from, like, the area relevant to the bottom of the basement steps. I don't think that makes any sense. But, so his neck didn't snap, so he was just left hanging there, and he had already drank bleach before, and he had died within 7 or 8 hours of hanging like that. And, so when they told me that he had died, of course, I was in shock, and I was like, is this real? It took me a long time to process that it was real, and it actually happened. And I was like, hold on. I dropped everything. I went back up to my room. I cried, and I was like screaming into one of my pillows, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, no, this is my best friend. No, this is Luke. This is Luke Glowson. Like, this is my best friend. Like, this couldn't happen. No, he wouldn't do that. It's my best friend. It was really hard for me to comprehend that it was real. Then as I was sitting in my room and trying to process the entire thing, I really, like, I understand that he was the one who kicked the chair, he was the one who tipped the bottle of bleach back, and that none of this was actually my fault. And you can tell me, a number of times people have told me that I don't need to worry that because it wasn't my fault because he was the one who physically did it. But, I really feel like it was my fault. I've always felt like it was my fault that he's no longer here because I told him, if you ever need anything or you feel like you're gonna kill yourself, call me. And I will always pick up. And the one time that he called me when he needed me, I didn't pick up. And that led to his death. So after a while, after I found out and realized that after he died, of course I became extremely depressed. I attempted suicide twice in March and once in April of that year, and I didn't actually get help until like the end of I didn't actually get help until the summer of 2015. And I was extremely depressed about it, and I didn't know what to do. But this whole incident, like, it happened 2 years ago. He died on October 19th, 2013. And he was 15 years old. And so I didn't really know how to process it, but after I was able to process it, I didn't have anybody to go to. I was extremely lonely. There were no kids in the neighborhood who really liked me. But I'm not saying that I'm over it now. I'm just saying that it was, the whole experience was, it taught me to really cherish what you have, and the amount of people who were extremely changed by his death, like his family, my family, me, it taught me that, like, you shouldn't kill yourself even if you really, really want to, because people do care. Like, even if you feel like there's nobody that you could go to, like, they do care. So, that's what the whole experience taught me, and I still miss him very, very much, and I cry about it, a lot. And, actually, I pulled this out a long time ago, like, earlier this year, coming up to the anniversary and stuff. I was cleaning out my room, and, this is his jacket, and it still kind of smells like him, the slight smell of smoke and cologne, and yeah, this was his jacket, and he left it here one of the times that he was over. I don't remember which one, but I have it now, and I wear it occasionally just to be reminded of him, and it's my little token of what he was when he was still alive. And Luke, I'm assuming I'm not, that is his actual name, by the way, and if you're anywhere around me, or if you somehow see this video, I love you so much, and I hope you're okay, and you're in a better place now, I hope. So that was just my experience in losing someone to suicide. I have a lot of friends who have died, but this is the only, Luke was the only one who I was really, really close to, and he was the only one who actually took his own life. The rest of them died. Either they got shot, or they were in car accidents, or other things. I made a video about Douglas a while ago. He died in a car accident. But, that was just my experience in losing someone to suicide, and I hope this helps people realize that suicide is never the answer, and that it's not a good thing, and that it's a real problem that we have in our current society. But, and just how I've dealt with it, and I hope that I can help a few other people. But, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and until next time, I see you guys, and have a good day or night or whatever.